Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me on today's show. I just got back from IBC and boy are my arms tired. Okay, I flew in a plane. I had to sit there for 10 hours on a plane. But yes, I visited a few booths while I was at IBC. This is just a small sampling of the gadget stuff that I've grabbed. But thank you all for coming. Today, we're here to talk about the YoloBox Ultra, but it's not the only thing. If you have just general YoloBox questions and streaming questions not even related to the YoloBox, just streaming questions, camera questions, audio questions, lighting questions, because, we do have light here. So light is very important, sound is very important, cameras are very important, and if you saw the photo I posted, I have 6 screens and an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO here as well to help me manage all that is going on. And yes, in the house, I have the Ultra. Now, I will be very forthcoming and tell you that this is the Ultra. This is not done. This is direct from IBC. They let me bring one here so that I can continue to help answer questions for people who are interested in the YoloBox Ultra. But the YoloBox Ultra is not done. The software is not done. We're months away from the software being done. And the hardware is, this hardware I have is not done. The ports don't even have labels on them. So this is an early pre-release just to get you, to help you understand where the YoloBox Ultra is going. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, they're going to do with the Pro what they did with the original YoloBox. And I think if this year has been any indication, I think the answer to that is continue to support it, because the YoloBox original received updates this year, 6 years after it was released, that gave it a couple new features that were introduced into the Pro. And I think that really stands to reason that the Pro will continue to receive updates. So before everybody says, oh, the Pro is dead in the water, blah, just stop, okay? YOLO Live has demonstrated for years that a product comes out and they will continue to update it as much as possible. And at the same time, technology increases. When the original YoloBox came out, it had the processor that was available when they designed it, which is probably a year before it came out. So it's 7 years old, the processor. And over the course of time, the type of chips that are available from the chip manufacturers increase. They get better every year, even more than twice a year. And there's different versions of chips and everything like that that are available at the same time. So when the Pro came out, they put the chip that was available at that time, which was more powerful than the one several years ago. Just like Apple comes out with a new chip in the new phone, which is newer than the chip that they came out with the phone just last year. And actually, Apple just had their announcements, last week, and the iPhone 15 has both a new chip in the Pro model and last year's chip in the basic model. So they're actually releasing a new model phone with last year's chip. Go figure. So it is common for electronics manufacturers to, after a couple years, introduce a new piece of hardware with that then current processing chip. And as we see with the YoloBox, the original YoloBox had 2 HDMI inputs. The YoloBox Pro has 3 HDMI inputs, and the Ultra is designed with 4. I guess at this point we will eventually have a YoloBox with 8 inputs, but I don't think there's enough room for that. But we'll get to that later. Please, first, let me do my introductions. My name is Anthony Barocas, and I am an independent content producer for YOLO Live. I am based in Dallas, Texas. That's the central time zone in the United States. And I know this show goes all the way around the world. I already highlighted over a dozen people who said where they are from in the pre-show, so I'm not going to do that now because we have a lot to get through. If you're watching this on Facebook, know that we have a YoloLive Tech channel on YouTube where you can see all of the previous lives and you can see all of the tech videos to help you get started. There's not going to be a tech video on the Ultra until it's officially released. This is a preview. This is a discussion. None of the features are finalized. The software is nowhere near to being done. It is pre-release, okay? I cannot stress that early enough. If you are watching on YouTube, know that we have an official YoloLive user group. And this is where you can talk to the official YoloLive team in China who are in charge of the hardware and the marketing and the features and the bugs and all that. And if you are native Spanish speaking, as is a vast majority of the world, there's YoloBox en Español, not an official channel of YoloLive, but a place where people can converse more fluently in Spanish. And lastly, if you want to write and communicate directly with YoloLive, there's always contact@yololive.com. So again, thank you very much for joining me on today's show. Very excited to bring you to see this box. This is the Ultra. And the first thing you're going to notice on the Ultra is when I'm here, and I'm going to go back one screen. So this is the screen you're used to seeing. Let me see if I can make that a little dark because it's a little bright for the camera. Okay, it's a brighter screen. Okay, first of all, it's a brighter screen. So where I have my camera set normally and the room set, this is not normally as bright as this. This is a brighter screen. This looks very familiar. You have your YoloCast events, you have your standard events. When I say new event, you can create a live stream. You can go into monitor mode, but there's a new button, vertical streaming. And that is a key thing for the YoloBox Ultra is one box can do both modes. Now, before you get all excited that you can stream to both YouTube and Instagram, you choose between the two modes. You can go vertical mode and it will work like the in-stream. It's just a little larger. It's basically like an in-stream. And because there's more storage space on the motherboard, they're able to put both of the different operating systems on this YoloBox Ultra. And what that means is you can now choose between one or the other, not and, or. So you can do a vertical production or you could do a horizontal production. You're not going to do both because the horizontal engine is going to work like the YoloBox and it's going to stream through the YoloLive horizontal destinations and multicast to Facebook and YouTube and wherever else. Today we are going to LinkedIn. And I should say, if you're watching on LinkedIn, I can bring in comments from YouTube and Facebook. So if you are watching on LinkedIn and you want to comment, see if I take a look over there. Nobody's commented on LinkedIn yet, but if you do want to comment and have your comment to be part of the show on LinkedIn, jump on over to YouTube and watch because that is where I can pull comments into the show. If you just want to comment and you don't care if it's part of the show, you can comment on LinkedIn. So I am streaming to those three destinations through the built-in multicast, which has been part of the YoloLive package since the original YoloBox. Multicasting for free included. Anyway, vertical streaming and create a live stream. That is going to solve a lot of people's, it's like, I only want to buy one box and I want to be able to use it for a vertical event one day and a horizontal event the next day. Great. The Ultra is your thing. But what you're not going to be able to do is you're not going to be able to go produce a horizontal event with your 4 HDMIs that you can see I've got plugged in right up here, and then also stream it to InStream. Or Instagram, sorry. You're going to need a separate vertical thing. So you will still need two different boxes if you want to go to both places at the same time, or use a different horizontal streaming thing and then put this in vertical mode and then do your vertical streaming in this. So I hope that answers a few questions. Just want to get that right out of the way. As you can see, I've got this thing set up right here. I have 4 HDMI things plugged in. This is the monitor out, Ethernet out, and then I actually have 2 converters plugged into the 2 USB ports. So if you're keeping track, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 HDMI inputs, potentially. Now, As it has been mentioned, this has been designed with 4K in mind. And I have said this before in the live shows, and I think most people understand where I'm coming from. The vast majority of the streaming world, or the majority of streaming viewers, view content on mobile devices. You can look that up pretty much anywhere. And most mobile devices, like, I'm not going to be watching 4K on my phone. It's useless. I'm not going to be watching 4K on my laptop. My eyes cannot resolve that much detail. I'm not going to be watching 4K on my tablet. Literally the only time I really want to watch 4K is if I've got it in my living room hooked up to my TV. And I'm going to be honest with you, my TV is still HD. I don't have a 4K screen. I don't even have a 4K player hooked up to my TV in the living room. So 4K is useless to me and a great part of the viewing audience. But by engineering the YoloBox Ultra, I should do that in movie voice, Ultra. By engineering the YoloBox Ultra for 4K, there's enough headroom in the processor that it should do these 6 inputs in HD very nicely. So I am sort of getting ahead of things. The software is not done. The device is not done. We have not tested it. It is not yet been put fully through its paces. And remember, the YoloBox Pro and the original YoloBox came out very humble, very slimmed down, and then features were added over time. So if it doesn't ship with 4K out the door, the 4K may come in 6 months, so let us see what happens with the software. I am not part of the engineering team. I can't answer those questions. So again, I want to welcome everyone to the show today. If you are just joining us, we have a huge audience watching on YouTube today. Tell me where you're watching from and what streaming questions do you have. I will scroll back up. And Split Vision to Film TV says, YoloBox Ultra going to have mix minus, and if they're going to update the Pro to have mix minus. The YoloBox Pro is sort of at the upper limit of its processing capability. There may be tweaks, but Frank said at IBC in the live show, which you can watch and reference, I'm just going to repeat what he said. He said that there is enough processing power in the Ultra to potentially do mix minus. But don't expect it out the door. It may be down the road a little bit. Because YoloBox Pro does not accept connecting 2 webcams, one with the Type-C connector, one with the USB. Oh, that's part of a thread. And do I have the rest of that thread? TV Pudum BT says, trying to use a webcam, connect Type-C cable into the YoloBox to the HDMI input, but it's not working. So I have used a webcam. I have plugged a webcam, and I have used these little, good job. I have used these little HDMI converters, and it's going to be backwards too because I've got the left right flip here. I'll go to the overhead camera. I have used these little HDMI capture devices, and these work very well. I have tried a Elgato in here, and it's not working, and other people have reported that one's not working as well. And oddly enough, this $17 adapter, when I got it, now they cost more, works. So go figure. And then I have a Magewell on the table as well. TV Pudum also says, is it possible to change the standard YoloBox scoreboard for a tennis scoreboard? And for that, I will actually take you over to the laptop. Let's go here. And on the laptop, take you over to the overlay library, which down here, this is free. This is included in another thing that's included when you buy the YoloBox. Actually, you don't even have to buy a YoloBox. You just sign up for an account and you get to use this. And you can see there's a nice baseball diamond one here. There's a score for horizontal. There's a horizontal with no logo. There's American soccer. There's soccer scorebug, football scorebug. There's lots of different scoreboards that are included in this, and what you do is you bring them in via web overlay. And if what you want isn't here, or if something is here but you would like it done differently, you want things arranged in a different way, you also want to keep something else, you can, in this overlays, you can create your own overlay right here. And what you're doing is you create a layer, you create rectangles, you create text boxes, you put in images, and you build it to suit whatever you want. This is a custom titler included for free that you can bring into the YoloBox. And I say, especially with sports, especially with fast-paced sports, give that job to someone else. Let them keep track of the score changing, the clock stopping, the clock starting, penalties, who's on what base, if there's a flag, a penalty. Let them keep track of all of that, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and let someone else keep track of what camera we're switching to, replays, any sort of title graphics or sponsor overlays and stuff. They keep track of that, and someone else keeps track of the scoreboard, because the scoreboard, it can get pretty busy, and doing the game can be pretty busy. So having two people do different parts, I think, is a great way to do it. And this can be run on a laptop or a tablet, and then they can keep track of the scoreboard and change things. It's super easy. Here, actually, I will come in here and I will go into my overlays, and I think I have one of these, and I can open the control panel for this one, and then on the laptop, and this is like a $150 laptop, okay? So what you've got down here is you've got this, and you can say, here's the text for the down number, to go number, ball on what number, and so they can go through all of this and change it. Here's the preview, and then you send it to output. So they can come in here and make changes and then send it to the output. And then it comes over here into the YoloBox when you want, as a web overlay. So the laptop needs a connection to the internet, and then your YoloBox, hopefully if you're streaming, has a connection to the internet, and then that's how those connect. House of Tunes TV. I can't wait to get my hands on this device. I'm sorry, you are going to have to wait. How to connect NDI to the YoloBox. Right now, there is no NDI in YoloBox. NDI is a very processor-heavy task. And unless you've got a dedicated FPGA chip for it, which is how Bird Dog does things, then it has to all be done in CPU. And if the more you tax the CPU with more NDI cameras, you're not going to have good frame rates. That's just the way it is. I have desktop machines with good i7s and 2080 CPUs. And when I load an NDI source, I can literally see the CPU load go up and the CPU load go up and the CPU load go up. And then soon enough, you have no more headroom, and then you start dropping frames. On a desktop machine with a 250 watt power supply. This is an Android tablet. HMI Atlanta is already here and so excited to be part of this. I will be here till the end. Well, glad to have you. Are you back home and jet lagged? Yes, I am back home, back in the home studio. This is where I get to show you this stuff without the din of the crowd and with the ability to go to the overhead shot, and I can take my time and show you things. Because I can do that here in the live show, in the studio here. I have the time and I have the resources. I did not have an overhead camera at the show. We had a camera off to the side that wouldn't focus right, but we got it. We got it now. We're good. It would be great if one can copy files from SD to USB on YoloPro, YoloLive technology. I agree. That would be kind of cool, but you could also do that with a computer. But yes, it would be kind of cool to be able to transfer files. But again, the YoloBox is a purpose-built device. We don't ask our cameras to do that, even though cameras do have a file management system. We don't ask our phones to do that, even though our phones have a file management system. And I can actually do that on Android. You've been able to do that on Android for years. You still can't do it on Apple. Whereas I have my micro SD card and I can copy things to a USB stick that's been plugged into here. This is a 5-year-old phone and I can do that. I want to welcome Apple to the USB world and complain that they came out with the iPhone 15, the basic model, still only works at USB 2 speeds, not USB 3. Controlling down, I'm just going to try to go through these comments. Just interested in hearing about the new lineup of equipment coming out soon. So today's show is really about the YoloBox Ultra, because this is a YoloBox show on the YoloLive channel. They also came out with a little a desktop, tabletop Max system with an included camera and a Max Pro. That I did not get to take home, so I can't show that. And they also have a Micro Four Thirds camera with interchangeable lenses. I don't have that as well. So those were all announced. You could find the blog post that shows you photos and announcements of all those. But today I am really just talking about this YoloBox Ultra. SuperSource is my main concern right now. I want to be able to 4 different things like on screen, like ESPN. Yes, I agree with you. And now that the YoloBox Ultra is able to bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 sources via HDMI, the need for a 4 input or way to show 4 inputs on the screen at the same time is definitely worthwhile. And Frank said as part of our live show that yes, adding different multi-views is definitely doable. As well as upgrading titles, more variety, more capability in the titles. That is definitely something that does not take a whole lot of CPU power, can be done and brought to the earlier models. Is there a mobile app coming? Again, we mentioned, we talked about this during the live shows at the expo, and when we pressed Frank on mobile app and, you know, specifically running, let's just say, YoloCam app, YOLO Mobile, I don't know, whatever they're going to call it, YOLO something, and running it on the phone and being Wi-Fi across the local area network to the Ultra or the Pro, he says that is something they are definitely looking into. Ireland is in the house. I'm going to pass through those things again. A little concerned about the cable management for the Ultra system. Yeah, it has more inputs and outputs. So yeah, and let me just go over that across the top here. I can tilt this up. We've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 HDMIs ins. You can see there's no labeling on this at all. This is not silk screened or labeled. Again, early production model. You know, the final model may change, and I asked them, please label them in white so we can see them easier. Labeling them in dark black on gray is not helpful. So I told them to do that. And then over here we've got USB, and I'm using a USB input here, and I can plug a second one in here. So if you're counting, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inputs. Along the bottom, actually, I'm going to see if I can tilt this up a little bit. Along the bottom, you've got your power button, your SD card, your SIM card slot, quarter 20 thread, your USB-C for data. You know, if you want to plug in a USB-C stick, a USB-C converter, or USB-C output to a computer for Zoom or whatever, that's that connection, just like the Pro. The same line in, mic in, headphone out, just like the Pro, and then your PD power input, just like the Pro. So this section right here is literally from the Pro, except the Pro has it on top. You see it right here. PD, audio, headphones, PD. This whole section was moved to the bottom to make way for more inputs. And then the USB was moved way over here. So now you got 2 of those in addition to the extra HDMI. And I guess the Ethernet, these 2 were rejiggered. So it's literally like a completely different I/O strategy on this thing. And then the SIM card and SD card, again, I hate this dark labeling. These were reversed on the logic board. Don't ask me why. I am not an engineer. I am not on the engineering team. I have no secret information other than what was released and announced at IBC and what we can see on the device I was able to bring back from IBC and I have here in the studio to talk with you today. Let me just double check something. I believe we have a record number of viewers on YouTube. So welcome everyone to today's show. I am excited to have you here, and everyone that's on Facebook. So Facebook and YouTube combined, we're nearing 4 times our normal weekly viewership today. So I appreciate you all being here. I will continue to go as fast as possible. Maldives, hello from Wiltshire, Southwest United Kingdom. Welcome. Did they let you bring one home? Yes, they did. I have it right here. I was surprised. considering it's not a fully functional unit. It is, the software is still in beta, right? I might even say alpha at this point. But they are working on it. They have software in the labs that they're working on, and those things will trickle down, and hopefully I will be able to have updated shows on this thing. Hello from Palermo, Italy. What is the price of the YoloBox Ultra? Frank had mentioned they are aiming at $1,500 to $1,600 US, and of course worldwide variances from that. PR Maldo says, wow, the dance. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We have a lot of energy here in the studio. The average guy finally made it to one of my shows, and he's got a really nice camera in his thing there. Watching from Los Angeles, California. HDMI says, no more ATEM for me. Well, it's funny you mention that because I upgraded to do this show. I upgraded from an ATEM Mini. Now I have the Mini Extreme. So it has 8 inputs, and I need more than 4. And so what you see over there, you know, I can switch between my laptop. That is the actual output of the monitor from the Ultra. This is the output of the Pro. This is my overhead camera, and I think that's already all the things I have plugged in at the moment. Do I have something here? Oh, that's the output of the Extreme itself. I don't know why that's there, but that's there. So I have more inputs today. I'm not using all of them, but I have done shows, a camera show where I really needed more inputs. So I upgraded. Yeah, it was a pricey upgrade, but having an ATEM allows me to switch what's in the subsource or what's in that panel without having multiple things on the YoloBox. Can we write text from right to left? I don't know, but I do believe we normally have someone from Israel in usually, and they are using Hebrew, and they can write from right to left in Hebrew because Hebrew is a right to left language. It's hard to dance with all those things on. That's the only thing I had on was the headphones, and I only have that on pre-show so that I could hear the music and know when it ends. Hello from the Philippines at 1 a.m. Thanks, thank you very much. When is the release date? When is the release date? Frank says they are targeting end of October, early November. And kudos to Frank. I hope you can meet that. You know, that would be great. But as anyone knows, with the international supply chain issues and things like that, good luck. Good luck, Frank. So you're saying it's ready to go? No, not even close. The one I have here is not even close. Greetings from Uruguay. Man, we got a huge audience here today. What is the max bitrate live stream mode and monitor mode if it is possible? I poked around with it. The software is not done. The software is nowhere near done. And it was really weird because when I was poking around with it, it came up with like, I could go between 2,000 and like 5,000, and that was it. Whereas the Pro lets me dial it all the way up and all the way down. So yeah, the software is not done. There's things that you can do in the Pro that aren't even visible in the Ultra at this point. They're building the software for the Ultra. So I think they're going to work out some things that maybe were challenging in the Pro. They're going to work them out differently. Let me show you just one thing. We're going to go in the monitor mode here in the Ultra. And you can see HDMI 1, HDMI 2, HDMI 3. There's my camera. Where is that? Is that over here? Yeah, that's this over here. And then HDMI 4. What is that one? That's this one over here. So I've got my 4 cameras right here. Actually, let me give you the output of, there we go. This is the actual output of the Ultra. And you can see I've got my USB. But for whatever reason, right now, both of the USBs are showing up as the same thing, even though I've got 2 different things plugged in. They're both, that one source is showing up on both USBs. So again, early software. You can see the icons down the bottom here. There's not as many icons as there are on the Pro. And if I go into the gear, wow, that was fast. You know, shoo, it goes really fast. But you can see there's actual like little dividers. There's a little divider there for different things. Noise reduction, that's not available on the, why do I have a title on? Go away. Noise reduction is something that came from the InStream, which has noise reduction.
And I said, boy, be really nice to have that on the Pro. Probably not enough processing power, but the Ultra looks like it's going to get the noise reduction. Again, early software. Don't hold me to it. Don't hold YoloLive to it. They may be trying stuff out. See what they can put in. See what works. See what causes problems. If it causes problems, something that's there now may come out. You see that all the time if you watch articles about Apple software or new Android releases. Oh, this is a great new feature, and it doesn't come out in the next version of Android because they're just testing it. Storage management, streaming mode, and you can see there's less controls here. There's no replay control up here, even though it does say replay up at the top. This text is smaller than the Pro. If I go to the Pro, you can see that the text up here is much bigger. If I come over here to the Ultra, you can see this text is smaller. It's still a mono audio meter over here. So there's a lot of different things going on. I can't answer that question. Saludos from Bolivia. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you watching the show. Post-sale support of YoloLive is super awesome. Yes, and I think that is one of the things that really differentiates YoloLive from the numerous companies I saw at IBC showing all kinds of wondrous things. And I even wrote about it. You won't see it in the magazine, but I wrote about it. I write for, let's go overhead. I write for a magazine called Streaming Media Magazine, and I have a regular column called The Producer's View. So you could follow me, and you'll see links to that when it comes out. And I just published a column called Here Come the Gadgets, because YoloLive jumped into a section of the market that had no solution. You could either use an iPad that did not have like hardware inputs, or you could use a desktop computer that had hardware inputs but was just difficult to use because it was a computer. And then YOLO came and says, we're going to use a tablet with hardware inputs, which was absolutely unique in the market. And YOLO came out there. They've been out there for years, swimming into this open lake of nobody else there, and just forging ahead and putting new features in there and doing things that just hadn't been done before. And now at IBC, we saw some other companies jumping into that same lake. So the lake is now getting a little fuller with other companies, but YOLO has a multi-year head start. What is the charging limit? 15 watts? I think so. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I don't know. What will the price of the YoloBox Ultra? Again, they're aiming for $1,500 to $1,600, $1,599 to $1,699, I guess. Aiming for that. Whether it actually comes to that, we can keep our fingers crossed, because the Pro was $1,200. So being able to have all this additional capability for a nominal extra fee, a little more, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Currently, TikTok forces users to use TikTok Studio to live stream. Can YoloBox solve this? The Ultra can, and the InStream can. The InStream already does TikTok. The InStream already does TikTok and Instagram at the same time. So if you want a solution right now, InStream is available. Buy it, use it, have fun. Michael D. bought 2 months ago Osbot Tiny 2 USB with remote. Is there a way to get the full features to work on YoloBox without using a PC for remote streaming? I saw third-party apps work. I don't know where you saw third-party apps work. That was not part of the announcement. And we did a show here a couple weeks ago on the Osbot Tiny 2. This is a great little thing. Here it is. And I have this tiny little right angle adapter that lets me plug this directly into my YoloBox, and it's super tiny. Actually, it looks bigger. If I move it back next to my head, it's super tiny. I mean, it's as big as my eye. So yes, this is a very cool tool, but at the same time, it requires their software to work. And can it be controlled by the YoloBox? No, because they don't have Android software to control it. See, it's the same reason why we cannot use the Elgato Stream Deck on the YoloBox, because they don't make Android software. They don't make an Android SDK, software development kit. They don't have Android drivers. They don't have Android connectivity. So if they don't have Android connectivity, the YoloBox can't talk to it because the YoloBox is on an Android device. So waiting on them. Atlanta is here, and SuperSource is main concern. Like I got that. How will the ISO recordings be saved? Will there be a file that maintains the live cuts? What editing software will this support? Will it record all 4 files plus the real time, or just the 4 inputs? Will it also record use of graphics and overlay separately, or will it be embedded on the recordings? I'm thinking, and again, the software is not done, because this is not part of the Blackmagic design system. This is not part of Adobe. There's not going to be an EDL. You're going to get the 4 sources if you do ISOs. And you get the program. The program will have all your overlays and everything else. And then if you needed to fix a shot, you will have your ISO sources. Me personally, I've always just been recording in the camera itself. I can record 4K in the camera. I've always been able to record 4K in the cameras for years. And then I switch HD for the market, but I still have the 4K ISO if I need it to cover and fix a shot. Can you bring remote guests via Zoom using a laptop inside YoloBox? Can you bring in remote guests via Zoom without using a laptop inside YoloBox? No, that's not a thing yet. Although I do know that Zoom has an Android app because it's in the in-stream. So there may be something there, something possible. And I don't know if Zoom's API allows the same functionality as it allows on the desktop, because I saw that vMix, which is a video mixing tool software from a company called vMix, they announced Zoom compatibility in that a group of people on Zoom will come in as separate inputs. Yay, that's great. But that's through the API on Windows. I don't know if the API on Android offers the same functionality. So again, it's dependent upon them. JJ's Aviation TV is back in the house. Hello to you. Welcome back. Where do you log in to get dashboard? Dashboard.yololive.com. That's where you get it. Good day. How to connect Rodecaster Pro on YoloBox Pro. I personally like the analog inputs. That's how I do it. I take one of the headphone outs and I run it into the YoloBox. This way it gives me an adjustment dial on the Rodecaster. Can you see with the bitrate on the Ultra model and the both monitor mode and live stream mode? I did, and as I mentioned, I'll bring it up now just to show you, but software is not finalized. Got it? Let's just come down here. Streaming mode, encoding settings. 5,000, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, goes up to 50, which is the same thing as the Pro, and goes down to 1. And if we exit this, yes, done. And let me duplicate a show. H2, done, create. And then we go into this show. Now I'm in a streaming show. It's going to load all my camera inputs. Ready, set, boop, there they are. Wow, look at all those icons just crammed in there. Although the nice thing is you don't have to scroll. But there's your bonding, there's your overlays, there's your streaming destinations, there's your remote guests, there's your audio mixer. Audio follows video as defaults to on. Hey guys, YOLO, we begged you to turn that off. There it is back on. You can see everything I've got plugged in is listed. 1, 2, 3, 4, and my 2 USBs. What's not listed here is what's not plugged in. This follows the way the Pro works in that it only shows you inputs that are connected. If it's not connected, it doesn't show up.
whereas the in-stream shows you all the inputs even if they're not connected. So this is coming from there. There's your auto switch. Here's your record button. Look, there's a record button down the bottom and it's not at the top. So apparently that is moving down here. I guess I'm kind of okay with that, but do not make that little red dot there the only indicator. Please, YOLO, please. We begged you to change it on the Pro, and you gave us this big icon right here, which we thank you very much for, because seeing the little red dot was impossible. Again, let's continue over here to the Ultras, encoding settings. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So here I am there at 8, and it only goes up to 30. So figure that one out. Again, software not finalized. So this is probably they're carrying stuff over and then they're tweaking it. They carry it over and then they tweak it and enhance it. And then they bring new stuff in like the noise reduction. How to add fonts to YoloCast, specifically fonts to write from right to left. YoloCast, how to add fonts to YoloCast, that would be a very good question. I don't know. That would be a contact@yololive.com or ask in the Facebook group. I don't know that. Greetings, if I missed it, what is the projected cost? Projected cost is $15.99, $16.99, about in that area. That's the target cost. Again, we're still some time away, a month and a half or more away from actual this thing hitting. Target cost may change. So I would love to be able to use a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse so I can control an output screen. Oh, I am right there with you. And I think we finally reached Frank at IBC. Aaron Parecki, if you know Aaron Parecki and I did a video, which is available on the YouTube channel from YOLO Live. We did a video and we begged him to give us some sort of control surface capability. And I think, and again, I'm not an engineer, I think the easiest thing is Bluetooth, because it's already built into the Android tablet. So that half is done. You don't have to wait for an API from Elgato. Bluetooth, wireless Bluetooth to the device. Then all you need to do is tell the app in one of the control panels, one of these things over here would be a list of key commands, so that, I hit the number 1, that would be HDMI 1. Number 2 would be HDMI 2. Number 3 is HDMI 3. Number 4 is HDMI 4. The plus sign is graphic 1. The minus sign is graphic 2. And you can go from there. And, just asking them to allow custom keystrokes for each of these things. And you could, and a good place to do that with these is right here, where I can give it a title. I can give this graphic a title. The next thing down would be custom keystroke. That's what I would propose. But again, I am not on the engineering team. Otherwise, I'd be standing there with a whip telling them this is important. With ISO recording, is it possible to multicam replay for sports? That came up during the live show with Frank, and he asked what the use case was, and I said, any sporting event you watch, somebody scores the goal on the program, yay, now you get to see it from the other side, now you get to see it from behind the net. And I think he understood why that would be valuable, especially for sports, to be able to see the various replays. So there may be ways to do that. We shall see what they can leverage, but we did actually help Frank see the light when it came to multi-camera replays. St. Joseph Spiritual Baptist Church is watching from St. Vincent. Oh, send me an invite. I'll be right down. Thank you for being there. Will the ISO occur in a timeline file like a derp for DaVinci Resolve, or no? I'm going to say no, because YOLO Live does not have a connection to any one of them.
And if they support one of them, then, you know, everybody's going to be like, well, now I needed to support this. And those file formats are mutually incompatible. You know, Final Cut Pro X file is not a DaVinci Resolve file. I mean, you could kind of say XML, but XML doesn't work with everything. And then the titling things that are in here are not the same titling capabilities that are in those devices, so that none of the titles would work. So I really don't think an edit file is going to be included. You will get the program, though, the recorded program. Wow, we're having the same thing happen as before. Can motion lower thirds work on the Ultra? That would be cool. I would love to see motion graphics as well. Right now, there's no motion graphics that I can see. Software is not finalized. Can I use the USB input to record contents via USB hard drive like Samsung TF? Yes, you should be able to use the USB input just like you can with the Pro as a destination. For vertical broadcast, specifically TikTok, can guests be added like on TikTok broadcast by a cell phone? Good question. I don't know. Does the InStream have, let me log in here. You can't see that, right? Okay, good. Sign in. The InStream, I don't think has, the InStream does not have a remote guest feature. So that's not a thing that's in the InStream. Who knows? Maybe down the road. I will probably say, in most likelihood, not when the Ultra ships, but with the increased CPU capability, that could be something they look at. Came in late. What is the launch date they're looking at? They are looking at late October, early November. That's their plan. You know, given, you know, everything we talk about today, from washing machines to cars, you know, there's issues with getting the pieces. So fingers crossed. Let's hope. Adult Samaris online. Hello from Mexico. And we have Argentina in the house. And, come on, Paris in the house. Hand pink waving, hand pink waving, hand pink waving. Lots of hand pink waving. Indonesia is watching. Can we buy the Ultra in Europe? No, not yet. Not available. It's not done. In late, got to watch the replay of this. Watching from India. Come on. India, Kerala, India. Thank you for being there. I appreciate you. Will it export ISO recordings into a completed file? No, it will not. I'm going to say no, it will not. Maybe a year from now, something might develop, but realistically, it's going to record those files. This is not designed for editing. And if it's designed for one platform, let's just say Premiere, the title files aren't going to work in Premiere because they're unique to this Android software package. So none of the title files are going to make it over there properly. Yeah, you might have the switch file from an XML, but again, that may be down the road, you know, a year one feature down there, but definitely not coming when it ships. If I bring a live stream from point A to me sitting at point B with YOLO as a master control scenario, how much delay between the two live streams? Could I switch inputs without delay? You can already do that. You can already do that through your YOLO Live account. So if I have a YoloBox Mini, and I have this Mini in London, I'm in Texas, and I have this Mini in London, and it is sending to the YOLO Live cloud using my account. When I come into my YoloBox, I'm actually going to try this. Let's try this out. And I say add video source. No, it's not listed here. Local video USB. So yeah, this one does not yet show it. But if I go to the Pro and I say add video source, you see where it says live stream. Now this one is currently not, it's set up in monitor mode, so this live connection is not there. But live stream over here is where you would, let's go this way. Let's go this way. The live stream, this is where I would be able to see any other device on my account that is pushing through the YOLO Live server. Now, those streams are going from my Mini in London to the internet. It's a path.
Now, what I can do here is I pull that into my device. It's not two direction. They can't hear me. I'm just pulling it. I can only pull one at a time. So I can go live to London. Hey, let's check this out. Okay, great, thanks. And then we come back in and let's go to Australia. Okay, great. And pull that stream in. You know, I can pull one stream at a time. You can already do that on the YOLO Live devices. Can we play an MP3 on Ultra as part of a title? Yes. And I learned an interesting hack from somebody that was at the show. They said they use an invisible countdown timer to play an MP3 on their Pro. So there it is. There's already a workaround. Looking from St. Kitts, Nevis, in the Caribbean, celebrating 4 years of independence. Great to have you. What are your thoughts and suggestions on where the inputs are located? You're getting to, there's so much input output on this device, we're running out of space. It's going to be hard pressed to put things anywhere else. Somebody says, can you put all the inputs, outputs on the side? Given the fact that it takes the entire top panel and more than half of the bottom panel to put it on the side, yeah, no, you can't do that. Are the HDMI handshakes issues solved? It's not done. I mean, it's not done. Software's not done. So nothing is solved. We'll find the answer to that when it ships, when we do a review in November. Want to make sure, where can you buy in Europe? You can't buy it yet. Will it export? Yeah, that question just keeps coming up. Quay utilizer o YoloBox Pro power transmit export in live. I guess you use it to transmit esports live. Good. Hello, sir. I'm from India. Welcome to the show. The thing is, the comments are coming in so fast and furious. I'm having trouble keeping up, and the YoloBox keeps sticking them on the bottom. When I do exclusively for a specific match, can the device play back some of the footage? Replay will already play back footage. Anything you hit for replay will be saved, and then you can bring it back in as a video file at any time. So you can do that at any time. YoloDai did a great job coming out with this form and live streaming. Now I don't need a PC to live stream in 1080p or need a PC to add layouts. Yes, that is common of the Pro, even the original YoloBox as well. Will it export ISO recordings in a completed file? I swear that thing, somebody either keeps asking it or everybody's asking the same question. I'm going to say no. Maybe year 1, year 2. Oh my God, I can't even click on the thing before they move. Can you record on Sony cameras and stream at the same time? Yes, that's dependent more on the camera. Is that Wrath, you say? Wath? I don't know what that means. Is the Ultra able to have both mic and line in live at the same time, unlike the Mini? The software is not done. Maybe. I don't know. But the software is not done. So technical advancements, I cannot answer. Hello from Puerto Rico. Hey, Noel, thank you for watching. And we're watching from Menacora. I think Frank should have you on the engineering team. I've got 20 years of experience in broadcast technology, but you know, the engineering team are hard at work on this thing. And Frank relayed that they were working nights and weekends to get it updated enough to have something, you know, stable to show at IBC. The fact that I have it here, you know, let's go overhead. I have it here and it's working, and I've got my inputs, and look, it's scrolling. This is different software. You know, being able to scroll my inputs, and I've got 4 inputs right here, and look, they're all working. I've got 4 cameras, and well, I got 3 cameras, and I've got a Roku just because I don't have enough camera sources, and they're all working. I mean, and it's been working the entire time I've been talking to you. It's sitting here for almost an hour. This is pretty impressive considering it's not done. Is there any chance to see a vertical stream in the next update for YoloBox Pro? I'm going to say no, only because again,
Even the Ultra with the increased processor only does one or the other. And it's able to have both of those big apps because there's more storage space on the device, more RAM to run it, more internal storage. And again, like the YoloBox Pro, you don't have access to the storage space on the YoloBox itself. That is exclusive to the apps and the operating system to keep it clean. You're not going to be loading your own stuff on there. That at least you really shouldn't be. The same thing happens with the new Tech TriCaster. They don't want you loading additional software. Even at its base, it's a Windows PC, but they don't want you loading software. And if you do, the software is designed to find it and show you an alert every single time you boot up saying, I found this, this, and this. It shouldn't be there. I wrote in Arabic from right to left using YOLO InStream. It was perfect. There you go. There's your answer. Can you play background sounds? It's not really designed for like sound effects or anything like that. So I would use an external input into, let's just say a keypad with different sound effects, and then have it come in your line input and have everything else mixed in the YoloBox. Big Studio is watching from Kenya. Thank you very much for watching from Kenya. Oops, did not want that to actually play. Hello from rainy Chicago. You are awesome. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much. Trying to make sure I get to everybody. So if I feel a little rushed, I don't want people to feel like I'm not getting to their question. I'm trying to make sure that I get to everyone. Been going for an hour here. Many Latinos have a YoloBox. Will there be a possibility of having Spanish as an option in language? That is a great feature suggestion to write to, and it gives me a nice segue, so that you can write that to contact@yololive.com and also put it in the Facebook group where the YOLO team see it. Again, my name is Anthony Barocas. I am an end user. I am based in Dallas, Texas. I am a live streaming producer, and I make the English language content for the YOLO Live team, specifically about the YoloBox. Today we're talking about the YoloBox Ultra. I have a not finished pre-production model with a 0.0 something release of the software that is not done. Just want to make that clear. The software you're seeing here is not done. But I will take a moment here to back out of this show. You can see this really teeny little dot. I will back out of this show just to show you this cool feature. Are you sure? Yes. Let's exit this. And here we are. This is the feature you know and love. And I'm going to hit new show. And that was a live stream that I was in. There's monitor mode. Let's check this button out. Look at that. It's vertical mode. I mean, yeah, it's really bright and you can't quite see it at all. But if I type the audio, here is the audio mixer. Here's the vertical cameras. And I think, yeah, all my cameras are coming in horizontal. So obviously, you're going to have to come in with the properly oriented cameras for your device. So you get a couple verticams for that. And that way you come in with vertical cameras as opposed to horizontal cameras like I have, because I was primarily doing horizontal mode like for today's show. This is horizontal mode. But I just wanted to show you that I've booted in. There are your apps. There's the Zoom app. There's the Facebook app. There's the Aperture app. And what were we using? Oh, I'm not logged into any one of these. So I'm just going to give this a try. Except skip. Can I even see my input? Is there a way? Camera. Yes, allow. So yeah, I have horizontal things coming in and they're squeezing them horizontally. So yeah, it's not done. And there's my audio input. And I've got no overlays. If you do overlays, image overlay, lower thirds, you can see this is not finished. There's things that are missing here. So go away, go back. And we're going to cancel this. And you know what? I actually don't know how to exit out of this mode. I hope we're not stuck in this mode. I'm just going to reboot it because I don't know how to exit that. Let's restart that. So that's the cool thing with this box. Again, software is not done. We're more than a month away of this software being done. And it's designed to work in both horizontal mode and vertical mode. That is going to save some people the headache of having to have two different devices for two different things. So you can do a vertical show or you can do a horizontal show, but you can't do vertical and horizontal in one show. This is not designed to do that. Even high-end computer software like a TriCaster is not really designed to do both a vertical and horizontal from the same thing. It's really kind of a kludge. And I've always said, use the proper tool for the proper task. So if you need a pair of pliers, use a pair of pliers. If you need a screwdriver, use a screwdriver. Don't try to ask a screwdriver to do both tasks. You know, use different tools for different tasks. Let us go back to the comments. Greetings from Chicago. Welcome. Oh, man. And as soon as I touch it, it jumps around. Where's Chicago? I would love to see more vMix features if it is possible. Hopefully better mixer with DSP. Okay, I did actually show the mixer and it comes with noise reduction. So it does have some DSP in it. But vMix is a computer with a 200, 300, 500, 1,000 watt power supply. This is an Android tablet running off of a USB power supply and a mobile processor. Don't expect desktop capability with this, at least not yet, maybe in 5 more years. Camp Pro Media says, following from Kenya. Thank you. Follow up point A to B stream, as long as it's my account, and obviously you can have multiple devices on one account. Thanks. Yes, that's exactly it. Wonder why they didn't offer a 5G chip based on waiting 4K streaming and the direction cell is going. At IBC, Frank had mentioned that the 5G hardware has a higher cost than available 4G hardware. And you can plug in 5G. If you want to buy a 5G modem, you can plug one in, whether it be a 5G hotspot. You can spend a couple $100s on that. USB stick, you can spend $100 and some on that. But by putting 4G built in, what that does is that enables everyone to be able to get on the air. And then for those that need 5G, you can add 5G. I am looking for screen rotate. Done. There we go. And then I got to darken it down again so you can see it. So let's go to the overhead again. Here we go. So if you need 5G, I'm going to take out my two converters, and two video converters, and I can take my modem. Yes, it's a 4G modem. Yes, I know. But I can plug that in right here. And then I can take my other modem, and I can plug that in right here. So there, 5G. Thank you very much. But it does not make everyone pay for 5G if not everyone is going to need, not everyone's going to use it on cellular. Not everyone's going to need bonding. Not everyone needs 5G speeds, because technically if you're streaming at 8 megabits, 4G is plenty fast. Plus, if you get a bunch of people in the audience all to move to 5G with their cell phones, that means the 4G spectrum is now more open. So there's a couple things to think about. Are there inputs on top and bottom? How are we supposed to mount it or rest it on the table to use it? Couple answers to that. Yes, there are inputs on the top and bottom. I made a video about this. You know, these are these little clips that are available on Amazon. They're cell phone things, but they make a nice tilt. So if I want to tilt it, I can just put it down on the table like that, and it stays at a nice angle. Right here, I'm using a wrist rest underneath of it. So if I move this out of the way, you can see I've got like a little wrist rest sitting underneath of it. There are ports all along the top because you've got 4 HDMI, HDMI out, Ethernet, 2 full-size USB ports, and then on the bottom you have the full complement that used to be on the top, which is USB-C, headphone, mic in, line in, and your PD power, as well as your SD card and SIM card and power button, and there's your quarter 20. There are no quarter 20s on the sides, and there's no quarter 20 on top because there's nowhere to put it. As to what this is, I think that's a developer hole. That's a reset probably for them to debug things and put it in developer mode. So ignore that hole. I don't think that's going to be part of the thing. But these are easily purchasable. I think my set cost me $7 and they stay on there. They're out of the way when I don't need them. And then when I want to use them, I fold them out and then my device just sits on the table. Nice and pretty. Any information about YoloMix Pro? No. I don't have any information about YoloMix Pro other than what's available on the press release and on the YoloBox website and things like that. It was available at IBC to look at. It's a bigger tablet. Oh, I should just go to camera. It was a bigger tablet. It's not the InStream, which is like this big. It was bigger, much bigger touch screen, and it has a camera that you can get it with the Pro on top, and you can control the camera settings. So we were in Europe, which is 50 hertz, so we were able to go in and set it to 50 hertz so that we didn't have a 50 hertz, a 60 hertz flicker. You know, it's a different design, different layout, different things going on. It's a very interesting device, very capable. I usually play MP3 music from my Rodecaster Pro or Duo on my USB-C audio, but it disables the video from the SD card. Yes, you can play it, although you can't control the audio. There's no audio setting for the countdown audio, so you have to pre-select what the audio level is going to be and then export the file that way, bring it in, and then play it. I think it's easier to have a bunch of audio files in an external device that you can play, and then you can control the volume of each of the clips very easily. Is the ISO recording 4K? Does this only apply to the 4 HDMI inputs, or do the USB inputs work if a webcam? I think it only applies to the 4 HDMI inputs. But the software, as I've said, is not done. That's a very good question, though. If someone is using a webcam input over USB, that's a camera, and it would be nice to have an ISO of that camera as well. So that is something that we need to post in the Facebook group so that the YOLO team, the YOLO engineers, are aware of just keeping that in mind. If it shows up as a video source, we want to ISO it. With regards to vertical streaming, is there a quarter 20 thread on the side to mount it vertically like a phone? I would love to have a quarter 20 thread in the back of it. I mean, me personally, have a quarter 20 thread right here. This way I could mount it like that on a little tripod like that. But there is no quarter 20 thread in the middle because that's where the battery is. And the battery is a brick. You know, if you want to make space for this little quarter, then you get 2 little batteries, or you have a battery with a hole in it. You know, that's really custom. So it's a whole very difficult thing to manage, but that's where I would put it. What you can do is you can put a metal plate here, like your cell phone thing, and then put a quarter 20. Actually, I got one. Let me go get one. Get yourself a metal cell phone plate and then get a magnet like this that'll just go thunk to it like my cell phone, thunk. And then that way, the YoloBox will hold to the top of a little tripod sitting on a table like that, just like that. There, solved it. Continuing on. I'm from India. We have main media Q8. We're 50,000 people. Now I have taken YoloBox Pro, but I will use it in public. What should I set the bitrate and stream will run in YoloBox? Well, first is what bandwidth is available to you. And that's dependent upon how big the crowds are, and if you're using cellular, and if you have an available place where you can plug an Ethernet in that would be reliable. And then if you can do bonding, you can get a hotspot like this that has Ethernet out and plug that into it as well. And then you can get sticks like this. But here, let me just say, if you like this show and you thought this show is fine, this show is 4 megabits. So if you think this is fine, 4 megabits at 1080p, you could even probably go a little bit lower before you start seeing compression artifacts. Is network bonding available on the device, or have to get plans like earlier? Bonding is always going to be separate because it is a paid service, and not everybody wants to have to pay for something that they might not be using. Some people use this device locally. Some people just record on it. Some people are using it in an office where they've got Ethernet, so why pay for bonding? Being able to have that available as an option for those people who want it makes the most sense. Facebook in vertical mode. Well, Facebook has Reels, YouTube has Reels, Instagram has Reels. Everybody has Reels now. So vertical mode is, is a thing. And being able to do vertical. Now, can you do vertical for an hour? I don't know. I haven't tried it. Hi from Seal Beach, California. Love my YoloBox Pro and read your articles and streaming media. Thank you very much. I appreciate you checking me out on streaming media. Bonjour, Manamana. Madagascar, thank you very much for dialing in from Madagascar. As someone on the market for one of these, what is the full range of available devices? I see the Mini, Pro, and now Ultra. Is there still just a regular YoloBox? I think at this point, the original YoloBox, like the iPhone 10, is going to be sort of left behind. You may see that disappear from the market. It does serve people who only need that limited functionality, but the availability of multiple audio channel mixing in the Pro, another HDMI input, and just increased capability in terms of what it can do, the Pro is a better choice for everybody. If you need a lighter end model, the Mini offers much the same capability as the Pro on a smaller screen with less HDMI inputs, but it has the same processor as the Pro, so it's on par with regards to the capability. The original YoloBox came out 6 years ago. It's the technology that technology is now falling behind what we're able to do today. Just like iPhones move forward, just like car technology moves forward, just like TVs move forward, just like your laptops move forward, and you buy the newest laptop because it's able to do more things faster and better. All consumer electronics evolve, and new things are able to do more. And then yes, there are people who will buy older devices who may buy the YoloBox original used secondhand or whatever, and it will still do what it does. It's not broken. It didn't die. It is still able to do 2 HDMI inputs. It is still able to switch. It is still able to stream. It still has multicasting. It still has the ability to stream and record. You can still set the data rates. You can go streaming mode or record mode. All of that is still never changed. All still possible. But if you're looking to get something to start and looking to evolve with it, I would get a newer model than the original YoloBox because it's going to serve you more longer. Because the reason the Ultra exists is because so many people bought the Pro and kept using it more and more and more features until you can't cram any more features into the YoloBox Pro. So those power users created a need for a higher model that has a better processor and more HDMI inputs and more capability, so that now the mid is sitting at the middle of the level, and the Pro is here and the Mini is here, and the original YoloBox still sits down at this level. It didn't go anywhere, but I think its time has come. It was great while it came out. It was the only thing available that did what it did, but now its time has passed, and now that baton is being carried by new devices. What I meant by vMix, more media layout, like in TV Station, more background images. You can load whatever background image you want in there. So you can load any background image or video for that matter. Thank you for all you're doing in educating us with these products. I use YoloBox Pro with my students and need to make sure this equipment lasts as long as I can. I am concerned about input placement. Just remember, let me show you with the Pro. Just remember, you have the flexibility to take this device. Actually, let me show you with the overhead. Right now, here is my inputs. They're all on top. Now, some people don't want them on the top because the cables hang down. If you come all the way out, if you come all the way out here, you can go into your main thing. I'm running on a battery on here because I've literally run out of power cords. You come down here. There's a screen rotate. See that right there? You click on screen rotate. You want to rotate the screen? Yes. Now, those cables are coming out the bottom.
because the screen is this way. So you can rotate the screen and I'm going to rotate it back. Done. And so if you don't want them hanging out the top, you can make them so they hang out the bottom. The same with the Ultra. Oops, don't do that. The same with the Ultra. If you don't want all these HDMIs hanging out the top, you hit the screen rotate button. Done. And now they're hanging out the bottom. I hope that helps. I'm from Seal Beach, California. Okay, did that already. Just stuff's bouncing around on the screen. The input you have on the bottom of your display looks fine now, but what happens if you mount it on a case? Well, let's hope that the case is designed to facilitate inputs and outputs. That would be up to the case manufacturer. About the Ultra being rested on a desk, we might actually see Aaron Parecki make a custom stand for it, like he did with the YoloBox Pro. I think that is going to happen for sure. I met Aaron at the show. He and I kind of hit it off. I really look forward to the opportunity of doing something with Aaron, and his case, his holders for the desktop, you know, they are designed to help people do shows who do shows like I do. I have a little thing over here, but it could just as easily be done. It could just as easily be Aaron's case here on the desk. I should ask him for one so that I have one to show. Hi, are the HDMI ports scales? Scales is in scales on the fish? I don't understand. I know English might not be your first language, but unfortunately English is my only language. Has any timeline been given before the YoloBox Ultra is released, and are there any plans for beta testing in the field before it is fully released to market? Well, I have one, so hopefully they'll listen to my feedback. I hope, fingers crossed. The timeline, the expected ETA, Frank has said, is looking at late September, October, early November. That's the plan. That's the goal. That's what they're shooting for. But as with any brand new product, you know, like any iPhone, new iPhone software release, wait for the 17.0.1 because Apple, trillions of dollars of engineering, still releases an update with bugs. So when a new device like this comes out, I would give it a thorough testing, wait for some bug fixes to come out. So, you know, if Apple can't do it, I wouldn't expect a small company, you know, working on hardware that is literally brand new. They're inventing the hardware. Apple's not inventing the phone, they're just updating the phone, and they still have software problems. A trade-up possible. Trade-up would be a great idea through, they'll have to see if they can do that through their resellers, because Apple can do it through them because they're Apple. They're just going to take that product and resell it. The phone companies can do it because then they're able to charge you a small fee per month to pay off the new device. Hey, get your free, you know, iPhone 15 through T-Mobile or AT&T or whomever, you know, because they're going to give you $5 a month for the next 2 years, and then you're basically paying for it. It's not free. I know that because I just went through that. Finally, after 2 years, we've paid off our phones, and now we can get them unlocked. So free is never free. You do not find trade-ins on Sony cameras. You do not find trade-ins on, you know, most consumer electronics. I do not find a trade-in on my Samsung tablet. I do not find a trade-in on Blackmagic design cameras. I do not find a trade-in on my wireless microphones. So trade-ins are a weird thing. You know, we get expected to see them on certain things, but at the same time, they're not everywhere. So I would not keep your fingers crossed on that. Hello from Botswana. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being there. Is it possible to use a phone app to control the YoloBox from a distance, a web browser or app? That does not exist as of yet. Software is still under development, still being put together. Could be a possibility. I and Aaron took the opportunity to impress upon Frank the importance of having a remote controlled surface.
like a Bluetooth keyboard. And then Frank kind of joked and said, mind control. How about we just start with Bluetooth? Okay. You have helped so many of us. Appreciate the effort, time, and especially the patience. You deserve a raise or at least a case of Dr. Pepper to take note, Frank. Yes, take note, Frank. I deserve Dr. Pepper and I deserve a raise. Yes, let's put that in the contract. Can you choose the codec in H.264 or H.265? I believe at this time it is still H.264 based because there are H.264 subroutines on the chip. Now, if the Snapdragon, I forget which one they're using, it's in the literature, 865 or whatever it is. If the Snapdragon chip has a section of the chip for H.265, then it would be easy for YOLO Live to tell the chip, send this program output to that part of the chip that is designed to compress to H.265. If the Snapdragon chip is not designed for H.265, then you would take up the general part of the thing, and H.265 is a beast to compress. So I would say then my answer would be no, I don't want it to do that. If all HDMI ports transmit in 4K or support independent format. Right now they support independent formats. So I can input a 720p, a 1080p, and supposedly 4K, and it'll downsample if my project is set to 1080p. In the future, can we expect a YoloBox with SDI? That would be one more pro feature. Right now, I'm going to say no, only because these boxes are still thin enough that the SDI bulkhead would be very large. Because you have to remember, there's a battery in there too, and there's a screen in there too. So, you don't have this space and you don't have this space. So you really don't have a lot of space at all. This is going in and it's being mounted right into the logic board. So there's not a lot of extra space in there. You'll find most things that do have SDI are thicker. Here, let me show you. So here is a device that has both HDMI and SDI. This is the Blackmagic Ultra recorder. And you see that this whole thing, and of course the logic board for this is at the bottom. So this thing has to be at least this thick. There's no battery, there's no screen, just to get the SDI to fit. And you can see how close this thing comes. So if you want to do this here, you literally have to make this thing 3-4 centimeters thick. It's going to be super chunky. And I think most people who are using the YoloBox are not going to want a box that's that big. Victor Tam says, thanks, man. Hey, you know what? We've been going for almost an hour and a half. We still have a bunch of people on YouTube. I want to thank everyone who has been here to watch the show. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am a live streaming producer here in Dallas, Texas. I write for Streaming Media Magazine. Go check it out on the web, streamingmedia.com/producer. And I write for them. I have a regular column for them, and I review all kinds of hardware and things like that. I also do streaming production in Texas virtually, and I travel. I am also the producer of all of the tutorial content. Let me bring that page up. If you haven't seen, there is a whole page on the YouTube channel that gets you up and running and with lots of common questions on getting started with the YoloBox. And this applies to the YoloBox Mini and the YoloBox Pro. So there's this big, long tech channel here with lots of information here to help you get started in making the most of what you do with your YoloBox. Remember, if you're watching on Facebook, we have a YOLO Live Tech channel there where you can see all of that tech information. All of the previous live shows are there, so you can watch them, and each one has a theme, just like this one has a theme, and it's all about the YoloBox Ultra. And we answered other questions as well. And if you are on YouTube and aren't already a member, join the official YOLO Live user group on Facebook. That is where
YOLO Live users from around the world can get together to collaborate, help each other out, solve problems, answer questions, and the YOLO Live team are involved in the group. They will ask questions, they will take suggestions, they will be involved in answering some technical problems there. And if you can't get your answer there, you can always send it at contact@yololive.com. And lastly, there is a YoloBox en Español group as well. This is not an official YOLO Live group, but for getting your answer, getting your question out in your native language, that is a great way to do it. And there's probably other YOLO Live groups around the world in different languages. That is just one that I can promote while I'm here. Let me do one last check of the comments. Nothing else has come in. So I am going to say we have made our record show with the most viewers from around the world. What about YoloCam? Any info? Sorry if I missed this question already asked. YoloCam was announced. It's a micro four thirds based interchangeable lens camera that uses another sensor for super fast focus, which seems, like Panasonic took Panasonic years, over a decade, till they got good autofocus. So YOLO Live has come out with that. It's got stereo microphones on the front. That is still in beta as well. That's not a fully finished product, and it was shown at the show. You can find information about it in the YOLO Live blog and press release. And with that, I will say thank you to everyone who has been watching today's show. I appreciate you all tuning in. This show is here every week at the same bat time, same bat channel. I'd love to have you all here. We can talk about more things other than just the Ultra. Next week, we'll have a new topic. And if you have any questions, be sure to reach out to me on Facebook. I am in the YOLO Live group as well. Till next week, I bid you all adieu and thank you all for being here.